In this video, we will show you how to lay the perfect patio using the Tobermore Madison flags to create a beautiful outdoor space to enjoy with your family and friends. We will take you through the process step by step and explain which tools, equipment and materials you will need. Before starting, it is important to check the locations of any underground services, such as gas, water, oil or electricity, as these could be damaged during the installation. You will need the following tools, equipment and PPE: shovel, string line, pins, screed rails and bar, plate compactor, cement mixer, spirit level, rubber mallet, soft brush and masonry disc cutter. The materials you will need include MOT Type 1 aggregate, also known as 40mm to dust, sharp sand, kiln dried sand, granite sand or jointing compound depending on which jointing material you want to use, and sand and cement for concreting in the kerbs. You may also require drainage channels or recessed manhole covers. All of these materials can be purchased from your local builder's merchant. You should also ensure you are wearing the correct PPE: high-vis vest, safety boots, dust mask, gloves, ear protection, safety glasses. The first step is the excavation process. To work out the depth that you will need to dig out, certain things need to be considered. The depth of the flag you are using, in this case it is 50mm, 30mm for the laying course sand and 100mm of subbase. Therefore, if you are installing a 50mm deep flag, you should add 50mm plus 30mm plus 100mm, meaning you will need to excavate approximately 180mm. If the patio is being installed directly beside the house, always ensure the finished level is at least 150mm below the damp-proof course. The next step is installing the edge restraints. Kerbs are used to form the edge restraints, acting like a frame around the patio, holding everything in place. The kerbs are bedded in concrete using a mix of 6 parts sharp sand to 1 part cement. Before laying the kerbs, you will need to set out a string line to act as a guide for both the alignment and level of the kerbs. Once you have set out your string line, spread out your base of concrete and then place the kerbs onto the concrete bed against the string line and gently tap them down using a rubber mallet. Make sure to check the levels using a spirit level. Once the kerbs are bedded in concrete, you should then haunch them at the back with concrete and smooth off using a trowel. Haunching ensures the kerbs are held in place and prevents them from moving forwards or backwards. Once the kerbs have been installed, leave the concrete to harden. Now it is time to install the subbase layer. The subbase is extremely important as it gives the patio its structural integrity and prevents any sinkage. Pour in the Type 1 aggregate and distribute using a shovel. The subbase layer must be installed with a slight fall to allow surface water to drain from the surface. This patio is 3.8 metres long, so we take 3.8 metres and convert it to millimetres, which is 3,800 millimetres. Then divide that by 80mm, which is the fall we want to achieve. This gives us a 47.5mm drop from one end of the patio to the other. This fall should be formed in the subbase and not the laying course. To create the fall in the subbase, place a string line at the finished level and at the highest point. Run it to a wooden peg at the lower end. Use a string line spirit level to check the string is level. At the low end, measure down from the string line 47.5mm and place a wooden peg at this level. This now indicates where the subbase materials need to be brought up to. You can do this in various locations to guide you. Measure the depth, making sure you have installed at least 100mm. Now compact the aggregate using a vibrating plate compactor. When compacting, you will need to do several passes with the plate compactor until a fully compacted subbase layer has been achieved. Now we can move on to installing the laying course. The laying course material is sharp sand. It is important that you use a gritty, sharp sand. It should be slightly damp to help it compact properly. To test the moisture content of the sand, you should be able to form it into a ball. Spread out the sand with a shovel or rake and compact it using a vibrating plate. Set the scrading rails into the sand to act as a guide to achieve the correct depth. Use a scrading bar to drag the sand over the scrading rails, removing any excess sand. If necessary, add more sand and scrade until a uniform 30mm depth has been achieved. The scrading process creates a smooth, even surface on which the flags can then be laid. Remove the scrade rails and fill in the void left behind with sand and scrade over. If you are using more than one pack, it is very important that you check the batch code labels on the packs to make sure that they all match. If they don't match, you should stop the installation and contact the company or merchant where you purchased the material. In the slate colour blend, some flags will have a predominance of dark charcoal pigment, some will be light grey, and some will have varying blends of both light and dark. This is completely normal. Therefore, to achieve the best possible finish and blend, you must always mix flags from a minimum of 3 packs. If you are only using 1 or 2 packs, you must ensure that you thoroughly mix the flags to achieve a good colour blend. The installer must make regular visual checks during installation to ensure the blending of colours is consistent. Madison uses 5 sizes to create a random look: 600 by 450, 600 by 300, 450 by 450, 450 by 300 and 300 by 300. Tobermore make it easy by providing a layout guide for you to follow. Laying should start at a straight edge. As you lay the flags, make sure not to stand on the scraded laying course. Lay the flag onto the laying course and tap it into position using a rubber mallet. Madison flags have built-in spacer nibs which create a 5mm joint. Lay the flag so that the spacer nibs touch the previously laid flag. The flags feature a pencil chamfered edge which prevents chipping and reduces maintenance. This product features Tobermore Prime Top surface technology, which ensures long-lasting vibrant colours and a hard-wearing surface finish. When laying, you should always avoid having any cross joints like this. Once all full-size units have been laid, you will have gaps at the edges of the area, and some flags will need to be cut to fill these gaps. Measure the size of the void and transfer the measurement to the flag. Mark where you need to make the cut. The flag should be cut using a masonry disc cutter with water suppressant to reduce the amount of dust. Always wear suitable PPE when cutting the flags. The cut should be made in a designated area away from the patio. This is to avoid getting any cutting dust going onto the newly laid patio. When placing the cut flag into position, you should place the cut edge against the kerbs or border of your patio. If you have a cut piece with cutting dust on it, you should wash it with clean water. This dust can stain the patio, and if it is not cleaned off straight away, it can be very difficult to remove later. On this patio, we are using a jointing compound. Most jointing compounds require the surface of the paving to be wet before application to prevent any of the compounds sticking to the surface of the flags. Jointing compounds are usually supplied in vacuum sealed bags. Once you open the bag, it will begin to react with the air. Spread the jointing compound over the patio and brush it into the joints with a soft brush, making sure they are all filled to the top. It can be beneficial to work the compound into joints by hand. Jointing compounds will generally set hard in 24 hours. It may be necessary to top up the joints. It is best to brush the jointing material at a 45-degree angle to the joints. This ensures you don't brush any of the material back out of the joints. Once all the joints have been filled, you should brush off any excess material from the surface. And here you have the finished patio. The inclusion of the pencil edge chamfer and narrow joint gives the added benefit of low maintenance. If you are a confident DIYer, then give it a go. If not, you can visit the Tobermore website and search for Tobermore registered paving contractors in your area. Now, all that's left to do is enjoy your new patio.